Hi, I'm Kimberly Lane.
I'm Sonia Jante.
And I'm Jonathan Ward, and together we're Unlocking Leadership. We are three experienced executive coaches with very different disciplines. In every episode, we take a question from a real client and provide key insights to address their challenges from our three different perspectives. It's a holistic approach to understand challenges and opportunities. So let's get to it. Our question today is from Ashley in Georgetown. Ashley asks, our company has been in deep transformation for the past year. We've reorganized every major business group. How can I best engage and support my team to be productive when even I am uncertain about our future? Sonia, what would you advise Ashley?
Welcome to living in interesting times. So, Ashley, thank you so much for asking this question. And I guess the first thing I want to say to you as a coach is you're not alone. This is happening in a lot of environments. My sister works in an educational institution, and when COVID hit, and they had to shut down, they basically had to rethink their entire model. So it's happening in all different parts of industry. So the reason I say that to you is sort of that you don't feel like you're alone, because it really is important that you get confident with yourself. So one of the things that I ask people when they're going through these kinds of transformations is you're clearly are staying there. So there must be some reason you're staying there. You've either bought into what the new model is, you're curious, you're passionate, you're energetic, you're wanting to test yourself. So you have to look at it as an adventure. I mean, whenever there is things that we cannot predict, those of us who stay and make lemonade out of lemons is because we have a mindset and an emotional set that allows us to go within and get energy to see things through, because your team is going to be looking at you and what your demeanor is and how you phrase things and how you look at things is going to affect their ability to believe that, something good can happen here. And no company is doing the transformation just willy-nilly. There is an expectation that whatever transformation is going to be supportive of the business goals and potentially position the company in a new way. So I guess my very first piece of advice is, so what do you do to build your confidence and to get yourself into the right state of mind to be in a positive mindset? So whether it's a particular ritual that you do, a particular place that you take yourself, you're going to need to do that more often so that you can have the conversations with your team that you're going to need to have. I'm going to stop there for now.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult as a leader. One of your biggest challenges is to lead when you don't have all the answers and when there's so much unknown out there. And as you mentioned, Sonia, your team is looking for you for that confidence and looking for those answers. And I really think it's important at this point to acknowledge that you don't have all the answers, to an extent, being vulnerable yourself in the essence that you don't know where the future is going to take it, but you do have confidence in the team, the latest transformation exercises that they've done for each one of the major business groups, and that, the end goal is such that we will be better positioned for our clients, externally and internally, and that all of us will still be standing here, a year later. So one, I think being vulnerable and sharing your own thoughts about, you probably have, you have similar trepidation or similar uncertainty as the rest of your team does, but that you're confident that together through communication and through having an open dialogue and confidence in the leadership that you guys are going to be fine. So I think, but having an opportunity to really ask others of the team, how are they feeling? What are they worried about? As very often when there's mergers or there's acquisitions, the very first question people are wondering about is, am I going to have a job, right? Will I still be here at the end of this process? So I think addressing the elephant in the room, if you will, what are the fears that your team is concerned about, where they don't feel like they can move forward and where they're looking for the answers from you, and try to just have a dialogue around that. So it's no longer uncertain, if you will, but there's some thought processes about scenario planning, if you will, right? So that we've talked about in another episode. So I kind of like to start there, and then I'll add some more comments. I'll let Jonathan weigh in.
Yeah, I'd like to build off of what you've both said. This is, Sonia, as you were saying, this is something where we've all found ourselves, I think, at one time or another. Even as coaches, we find ourselves in situations of uncertainty. And I like to work with people in this kind of mode. And sometimes it's just helpful to go back and think about, where do I actually have control? I can't control what's going on in the executive suite. If there's been a merger, chances are I'm far enough down in the organization that I really don't know what's going on in the boardroom or things like that. But, what can I do? What can my team do to reassert the control that we have over ourselves? Ultimately, we can't guarantee that the company's going to have jobs for us next year, but what is it that energizes about coming us to work? Is it a legacy that we want to leave for people? Is it that we want to provide excellent customer service, and we want to be remembered well as the people who continue to provide great service or great products in the course of this kind of uncertainty? And then also there's the exercise about sitting down with your team and thinking about, personally, when you've been through a major change in your life before where you didn't have control, how did you deal with that? How did you deal with that change? And what did you learn about yourself? And where can you draw from that strength to help you get through this process now? So I think sometimes just helping people reconnect, Kimberly, as you're saying, with the own strength that you have for yourself too, is a really powerful thing for them to do. And then, once you've done that for yourself, you help your team realize that they've survived some pretty most of us have been through some pretty traumatic things during the course of our lives, and what's going on at work maybe doesn't look quite as bad when you go back and think about some of the other things that we've been through.
Mhm.
Yeah, I also like the point that you made, and I was thinking of this too, is that we're always concerned about what will change, what won't be around, or where is the uncertainty, versus maybe focusing on what won't change, right? We still have clients that we have to make sure that they're happy. We still have to be customer facing and customer focused, right? We still have to be integrous with how we put together these proposals or our pricing and blah, 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 right? So just kind of, I think sometimes getting coming back centered to what we have to do every day is show up, right? And show up as the best version of ourselves, get our team motivated about that, creating that energy in the room to work on a project or work with a client or create a proposal or build a strategy, right? So, it's not like what we don't want to have happen is everybody's kind of sitting in their hands waiting for some event, right? I think being involved as a team, communicating, collaborating, and building things together, and almost taking some kind of control, you just mentioned, Jonathan, in that process too, can, I think, help everybody feel confident and feel like they're moving forward in a very positive light, right?
Mhm. There was a company that I coached at a long time ago that was not doing well, and the department that I was coaching in was scheduled to have a lot of changes. And they were losing people left and right. And so I said, well, and she says, and I don't have a budget. so what can I do? And I said, well, it sounds crazy, but sometimes, so this group here has got to get to a place where they're at least feeling good about what they got done today or what they got done this week. And I said, they normally don't cost a lot of money. I said, but go to one of those trophy stores and buy a small trophy. And then you can give it your own name, whatever it is. And then for that week, the person who did X or Y above and beyond the call of duty, should get it. And so she said, oh, that's it. We'll call it the ABCD award. I said, what is this? Above and beyond the call of duty? I was like, oh. So they actually got creative and put all kinds of little colors on it. And they started passing that around to different people on the desk. So it became something that they could focus on for who's going to get it this week. And it really sort of caused them to get to a new place that the actual results were that they didn't need to let go of anybody else, because people started becoming more effective. People stopped focusing on what the other shoe was going to drop. And they were focusing on what, as Jonathan said, what they could control. So that's another strategy to think about, is what can you do in the immediate future that allows them to take score in a way that is productive? Because we feel better, even if we know that we feel better that we got something done today.
Yeah, really thinking to the present piece. What do we have to do to be present and do in the present moment, the present week, versus thinking about 3 months from now, right?
Yeah. How do you show up every day And how do you want people to, to remember you for how you showed up in a time of crisis? That's something that your leaders are going to be watching you during the course of this as a manager too, and your staff is watching you as well. Going back to what you said, Kimberly, that it's, how you show up is really ultimately all you can control for yourself, let alone your team.
Yeah, and I think it's your attitude too. If you're walking around as a leader anxious and not confident in what the decisions that have been made and where everybody's going, then why are you still there, right? If you can't lead with a similar confidence and just optimism that things are going to work out, and then take that optimism and really formalize a process or a plan or things you do every day to keep the team optimistic and moving forward in that direction, right? Versus just waiting, like you said, Sonia, till the next shoe will drop. That's not very effective, right, for anybody, and it's not very motivating either. So,
no, and as Jonathan said, it's like leaders get defined when they're under stress, and so that's how you find out, like, oh, and for some people it's a surprise. I didn't know I had that strength, and for other people it's like, oh wow, that person didn't show up.
right, yeah,
Yeah. I was thinking one of the roles of a leader too is mood management. You've got to be assessing the mood of your team and doing what you can. If there's a negative mood that's going around, driving out what it is that's causing that, or finding out what it is that's causing that, and doing what you can to deal with that and help to improve the mood of the team. Again, you don't want to be a Pollyanna and think that it's all beginning completely rosy, but at the same time, don't contribute by spreading rumors and things like that. There's a lot that you can
And
do.
the other thing that I think a lot of leaders did during the pandemic that caused them to actually, as Kimberly would say, create greater connections, is they found out when people's birthdays were, when people's anniversaries were coming up. And so there would be some reason to celebrate something that was personal for them. And, at one point in time, she was like, I know the name of all the dogs. I know what happened at so-and-so's birthday party. And so it became a place where people could build community that allowed them to say, we're in this together. And if we're in this together, then we're going to make the best out of it.
Like that. So anything else anybody else would like to add for Ashley?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Ashley, for your question today. We hope you, our viewers and listeners, gain new approaches for leading a team in the midst of uncertainty. To our listeners, if you like the content we shared today, please like this episode and also share and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Unlocking Leadership-AskTheCoaches.com. We look forward to reading your reviews. You can also find Unlocking Leadership-Ask the Coaches on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. If you have a leadership question or would like to reach out to one of us, please email us at info@unlockingleadership-askthecoaches.com. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining us today. Tune in next time to find the keys to unlocking your best leadership.